Alrighty, welcome back to Xiaomi Studios and your hostess with the mostest, Anthony C. So, what do we got today? Alrighty, we have this little bad boy. And you know what? It's an audio interface, in case you haven't guessed already. And you say, by golly, why are you using that little dinky ass thing? Well, it's a long ass story. But yes, you too can be part of the adventure. Just watch the videos for entertainment and send your support and love and prayers. Yeah, that's the part, where that's kind of weird. But anyway, uh, yeah, I was trying not to be like, anyway, whatever. So, yeah, so the brief story is I came from an Antelope Audio Galaxy 32, which was friggin' phenomenal. And it syncs up with this board. And sometimes, let me tell you a little story. It goes like this: shit happens, and you got to deal with it. Well, we were planning on moving to. I'm just gonna show you some gear so it's more entertaining. Oh yeah, blinky lights and nothing's connected. Um, yeah, I was actually at a high end of my game here with top shelf gear, which was phenomenal. Anyway, we had a little snafu. Supposed to be moving to a new location, except for had to ditch this place before that could happen because obviously I need money to do that. So, and not to be boo hooing here, but the market took a turn for the worst. God, that just sounds, it doesn't even sound right. Took a turn for the worst. This fucking scumbag motherfucking politician bitches for us. Anyway, so yeah, the housing market dried up. Nothing selling. I'm getting total low ball offers. So at this point, basically ate up all my. Yeah, I guess I'll just do the full disclosure. Basically, I had so much cash set aside to come back, put my place up for sale, and move and start over with a whole bunch of really nice gear. Well, shit happened, and I couldn't really even sell my place, and I was getting these crazy lowball offers, and I can't give it away. So I had to try to ride this out because really nobody was just buying nothing for a while. So that sucked. And this is one of the being independent drawbacks because yeah, there's no government bailouts here. Although, what does that tell you? That tells you that yeah, in business it's nice to be connected because yeah, and how side subject here, but now I think about it, these are the hardships that every day. Here, let me put on me. Your hostess with the mostest, they see. Let me tell you the story face to face. So, um, yeah, this is the stuff that everyday people deal with, and here, let me put the studio in the background. Oh, crash. And that's a little better. Not really. All right, maybe that's not really happening too well. Well, that's not so bad. Yeah, one of the things is content creators. You have to work hard to make your stuff look good. People only see that side of the camera. What happens? And you say, "Oh, that's pretty cool," but they don't realize that the other side of the camera, it does take some effort to actually make the videos halfway decent. So, sound quality, audio quality, blah 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 blah. Anyway, these are the hardships that everyday Americans. Why do I feel like the word sucker should be in there? Have to deal with. There's no government bailouts, okay? So, um, like I said, came back, planned on putting my place up for sale. Normally, this shit will be gone in like 2 weeks, 2 months max. Instead, 6 months, 7 months. pushing it. Still ain't out. Still ain't sold. Came really close. But they could not come through with the cash. And like I said, I can't give it away, or then I got no problems. So, I don't know, this angle looks bad. It makes me look like man boobs. They're not man boobs, alright. They're muscles. Anyway, it's an optical illusion. Anywho, how? So, and I'm not old either. Anywho, how? Started selling some shit because nobody saw that coming. So that really sucked, but I figure, well, that's the way it is, especially with the music business and videos and all that. I'm sorry, the entertainment business. One day you're on top of the mountain, and then the next day you're down in the crapper. So that's just what it is. So sold off some high end gear. Yeah, I'm almost to the end of the story because hopefully you're not getting poor changing the channel already. Uh, Trust me, if you follow along, it is entertainment. So, ate up all the fucking cash. Had to figure out what I was gonna do. So, in kind of over my head and behind, way behind, I just sold off some gear and lost some money good on that, which totally sucked because I was really getting on top of my game here with studio gear. I had some like nice stuff. Anyway, one of the things I got rid of was a 32 channel antelope audio, which was just a phenomenal piece of gear. The only one thing, well, maybe two, I didn't like the way the monitoring thing and routing was set up, but I don't like the way the routing is set up with most of these friggin' audio interfaces because it's just way too fucking confusing. Just make it way simpler. I didn't like the route, so that's pretty much they're all wonky, and theirs is probably a better one, so it was laid out a little easier to figure out. And I didn't like how the plugins it said it had onboard DSP, but you could only use that on the way in, um, not like in a standard plug-in mix kind of way, which was kind of whacked because, yeah, who wants to commit all your effects up front? Because after it's recorded, you're stuck with that shit. And the guy in the video, I'm not gonna mention any names, but let me tell you, the best way that I found to record is basically you set everything up, whatever you got to do, and there's a lot of different ways to do it, so we won't go into that. But however you're setting it up, and as long as the sound is like within the range of fixable, moldable, shapeable, that's all you want to do up front. You want to make sure your levels are good. That is like probably the number one thing because no time during your recording do you want the levels shooting off the meter and clipping because we know in digital recording clipping sucks. So yeah, can't have that. Um, that's number one, and as long as the sound's not horrifying or some horrifying sound in there, it's all good, man. Just make sure the level's good and get it going, get it done, and then you're gonna focus on editing, any editing that needs to be done. And if you got a big session with a lot of people and you're recording a lot of stuff, it's best to just kind of, you have to really review every song carefully before you move on to the next one. But as long as you have all your basic content recorded correctly, you can just move on. If there's editing that needs to be done, now I've heard people kind of do this both ways, and I would have to say it's accordingly. Is if you can, it's best to do the edits right then and there before you move on to the next song. But if the edits are too extensive or whatever, obviously it's going to ruin the flow. So either way, keep moving on. The part where it comes to the recording and the magic and all that, you just want to get it as fast as you can and go. And the more natural and raw it is, you have a better chance of capturing that magic. So actually, this is a good view, except for yeah, yeah maybe me, but yeah, maybe me. It's not the best view, but it looks cool in the background. I'm letting dust accumulate on my mixing board because I want to see how much it can take before it starts getting weird. Anyway, I have to say that's also a pretty good thing. There's only one drawback. Oh, it's really so tired. Go. Anyway, so I had to sell a bunch of shit to just keep going, and it was really sad and misfortunate. However, things come, things go, and when I get to the next location and figure that out a little bit better, um, I probably will. I don't know. That was the perfect setup, quite honestly, because it works good for a hybrid system because having all those tracks. So, um, yeah, am I gonna get 32 channels back? I don't know. That's a really nice interface. And one thing I noticed right away was the sound of the converters are actually freaking amazing. I could do a commercial for Antelope Audio because nobody has the perfect layout to me or gear or whatever. Some are pretty darn close. Um, if I can find something wrong with it, then it should be refined. If I can't actually find a single thing wrong with it, then kudos because it's perfect. Um, but anyway, yeah, I noticed right away the sound of the audio converters, the digital to audio or analog to digital, digital to analog converters just sounded phenomenal. The mixes were so much easier because what you were hearing basically what was there, not some, I don't want to say colored, but different converters definitely have different flavors, and some of the other ones just aren't really that good. Now they're all getting closer to being a high standard. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna be missing that. Matter of fact, I would probably one of the first pieces of gear would be to replace that or some kind of equivalent because I like some of their other stuff that is, I think, works with the Zen part of it. I don't know. Some of their other stuff that can use the DSP up front, and they have some a way to use those as plugins because their plugins are pretty phenomenal as well. Actually, their plugins are actually very unusual because stuff that you typically would see and wouldn't see, but they actually sounded really good, and I found a way to sort of reroute it where I could use them, at least listening wise in monitoring mode. Anyway, so that's why we ended up with a new interface because this is temporary. I'm trying to downsize as well and move, so I have no problems with a small rig. And typically, although I was gonna go with the Zen Q, except for man, I'm still in the crunch mode until we get to a different place here. Yeah, the money thing is still tight. I'm working on it. But the new location is going to be so way much better. Just for overall um, zen, zen factor. Um, yeah, can't wait. But sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do and make it work. So, I didn't have a bunch of projects lined up because I got so many other things going on. So for now, it's all cool. Not really. But I'm just gonna say that anyway because I don't want to cry. Oh God, I just sell some of my prime gear. That's the way it is. Anyway, at least I'm thankful for having the experience to have some of that. because now I can see the difference in spending the money for the gear, what you get, what you don't get. But now it brings me to this. So I just got this little thing temporarily. I was gonna go with and that's pretty fucking weird actually. I was gonna go with um, I mean, there's only so many interfaces out there. There's probably more than you think, but not as many as you think either. If that makes sense. So one thing is I was gonna go with the Focusrite, and I've had Focusrite before, and clarity wise, their stuff is really good. But to me, it's a little harsh and digitally fatiguing. It has a little too much brightness and high end, and I just overall do not like the sound of their stuff. Now they have new generations of stuff, and maybe it's different, but not really impressed with the old stuff. And they didn't have. And one critical thing is the audio interface. And here's another thing: is most everyone has some kind of like mix mode or recording mode to where you can put in effects like on vocals or guitars so it's not dry. Because if it's dry, you're not really getting that motivation. And you don't really want to record it like the guy in the video for Mantle of Audio that keeps saying, yeah, do all this shit up front. No, no, no. Because if you're buzzing through and you capture a session and it's got different effects on it, and you don't like the way they sound, it's messing up the fucking song. Try to fix that on the back end. Oh, geez, they're fucking out in California and I'm in Michigan. Hey, do you think you could make a plane trip and come and re-record that one fucking thing? Yeah, because you decided to commit the shit to tape, as they say up front. No, I don't think so. Dumbass. But whatever. To each his own. Anyway, so um, all of them should have some kind of software where you can put in effects just on your monitor mix. Um, to make it more inspirational in sessions because sometimes if your stuff is dry, it sounds like crap and you're not inspired. So there you go. A Focusrite, and I had Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40. Actually, I had two. I had one modded, which was another thing. Um, did not really care for this overall sound of it. I mean, it was doing its job. It just, like I said, it was converters wise, they were more harsh, brittle. Um, Too much emphasis on the high end, if you ask me. And it didn't come with the software that you could add in some kind of effect, so it wasn't dry. Um, and I can never figure their fucking software out either. All these, and even Antelope, they had it correct at one point before they did one of the updates, and the way it was labeled, numbers and everything, they're all wonky. And they had it labeled correctly, unless you were using stereo pairs, in which case it wasn't really labeled correctly. You just have to, count or whatever. And then they fucked that all up. Anyway, so Focusrite didn't have the software. I mean, maybe you could have somehow routed it or whatever, but it's just too much bullshit. You want to plug it in and turn some knobs quick as you can because the idea is not to waste a lot of time on setting up or you're going to burn out the artist. The idea is as quick as you freaking can, let them, like the wild horse out the gate, let them go, man, let them go. So, anyway, now that I did all that yapping, I almost can't yap anymore because I need a drink of water. So, I got, I was going to get the Focusrite because it had a Thunderbolt and supposedly that was so much faster and I paid a shitload of money for that. And I don't know whether it's my rig, which I doubt because, I mean, how do you get a faster rig than that? But anyway, it wasn't as fast as what I paid for it, let's put it that way. So I was going to stick with the Thunderbolt on the Focusrite, but I decided, So, because, yeah, I've had it before, and PreSonus I know, and I like, and, that was an option, but the other Antelope Audio would have been my first choice, but, even used, I think it was like, I don't know, 300-400 bucks. And right now, man, sometimes, yeah, this has been a rough patch here, but I ain't on no fucking government assistance and I ain't getting no government bailouts. That's what I was gonna say. Can you imagine that some rich bastard friggin' he already makes a ton of money and then he fucks up completely. And rather than borrowing from his family and friends like most of us do, they get a giant government bailout. It's kind of like rewarding bad behavior. Isn't that sweet? Anyway, so yeah, we're just dealing with it. So I thought, you know what? Yeah, because I was getting tired of waiting. I need to be creative. Here, the juices are backing up. So I decided, let's try one of these because I never had one, but they always have good reviews and it was in my price range. And that's what it is. The camera's showing it backwards. It's not a SM, it is a M2. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so that's what it is. And let me show you. Turn. There's right there. I don't know what it's gonna sound like, but I'm gonna play some, and I have to say I'm pretty freaking impressed with the sound of the converters. I mean, like it almost sounds as good as the Antelope, to be honest with you. I mean, one was a $6,000 unit, and one is a I bought it for 150 bucks used. It was only 200 brand new. It's only got two channels, but for the most part, I mean, you know, I got the MIDI drums, whatever, so that's not a problem because it's got MIDI in the back. It runs off of some weird cable. I don't know, UBC, USB 2 or USB C, but it's 2.0. So I don't know. That sounds a little disappointing, but you know what? The shit seems to be going fast. I have zero um issues, no latency, snap, crackle, pop. And the fucking converters sound really, really good. Even the headphone jack as well. So I'm fucking really impressed. I don't know what it's gonna sound like on the sofa, but let me play a little bit. Anyway, hopefully that sounded pretty good, but yeah, I have to say, I mean, it's been a while, and I think what I'm missing really is, I think I can hear the little difference, like, more clarity in the other Antelope, and, I should say more detail. But for the most part, doesn't sound harsh or digitally fatiguing. Save changes, yeah. Doesn't sound digitally fatiguing at all. Matter of fact, it sounds pretty darn awesome. So, looking forward to making some music with that. And it just has minimal connections. A little disappointed in only the one jack for a headphone, but I actually have a headphone amplifier and the cable, so that's not an issue. Bing, bang, bong. It's got monitor No, I haven't tried to record anything, so we'll know more pretty soon. I guess monitor, where you can monitor your shit, or you can hear it in the mix. I don't know. On the back, it's just got I don't really want to move it too much because, well, let's see if I can do this. It's got in and out. Actually, I'm sorry. It's for the monitors. It has these RCA connectors, or the 1/4 inch. It has the MIDI. It has the on button. It's USB powered. USB-C, which I don't really get that. But like I said, I have zero issues with it, and it was pretty easy to get up and get running right away. So let me turn this off. And that's my another one of my secret weapons, and that was actually really awesome. I had another video on this thing, so yeah, no crackle. Anyway, yeah, we don't do no crack here. Get your ass out of here. Anywho, yeah, I can turn off all this stuff. So pretty impressed. That's the Moto, whatever. So I'm gonna go with recommend, because I would definitely recommend that, and any model, even probably close. The converters are probably the same. So far, pretty fucking sweet for that and 2 channels. I always lean toward, what's the most I can get out of it? I would have went with the 4 channels, but now you're getting into a higher price range, and for that kind of money, I would have went with the Antelope Audio for sure. I still might, because I'm pretty sure those are the same converters. But damn, this thing sounds phenomenal. It was pretty easy to upload, download the drivers, the firmware. Although I don't see, the one weird thing is I don't really see the like the software on the computer. So I don't know, but anyway, that's it for the Moto. That's it for me. This is your hostess with the mostest from Xiaomi Studios, Anthony C. See you later.